Here we had our first House Democratic Caucus in-person meeting since the onset of the pandemic. I was certainly thankful that things are moving in the right direction. Thanks to tremendous leadership from President Biden, Vice President Harris, the Biden administration, working in close partnership with Democrats in the House and in the Senate. We passed the American Rescue Plan. That was step one, a $1.9 trillion plan designed to both crush the virus and provide direct relief and assistance to everyday Americans who are struggling. And we provided that relief in a variety of ways. $1,400 direct payment survival checks, enhanced unemployment insurance benefits, assistance to those who are struggling in paying the rent or paying the mortgage, assistance to individuals who are dealing with food insecurity. We know that in good times, there are more than 50 million Americans dealing with food insecurity, and that was prior to the pandemic. And of course, the groundbreaking enhanced child tax credit that will begin to take effect and hit the bank accounts of everyday Americans starting next month. We talked about the importance of the things that we have already done in our caucus meeting with the counselor to the president, Steve Ricchetti, as well as Yonda Young, who is the acting director of the Office of Management and Budget. It was a very good conversation. We also talked about how we are going to move forward with respect to the American Jobs Plan. The White House made it clear to us that we should be prepared to proceed on two tracks. One, to continue, of course, with the bipartisan negotiations that are underway to see if we can find common ground with the Senate. President Biden made very clear when he was speaking to the American people prior to the November election that he was going to be the president for those who voted for him and those who voted against him. He was going to be the president for everyone. And in leading these negotiations with the Senate Republicans, he is committed to seeing that all the way through. But we do need partners. The American Jobs Plan is overwhelmingly popular with the American people. The American Families Plan is popular with the American people. And the Senate is either going to choose on the Republican side to work together with us to get things done to supercharge our economy, or they will choose the way of Mitch McConnell, which has consistently been obstruction today, obstruction tomorrow, obstruction forever. And if they choose the obstruction pathway, then we're prepared to do what is necessary to get the American Jobs Plan over the finish line. I now yield to our distinguished Vice Chair, Pete Aguilar.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to commend the chairman and the House Democratic Caucus staff for organizing this event and almost over 90 virtual events that we have done since the start of the pandemic. As the chairman also heard from our colleagues, we've spent 3 weeks back home in our districts. And each and every time we meet with our constituents, we're talking about the importance of where we are, the importance of lower hospitalization rates, lower infection rates, and the role that the American Rescue Plan is playing in all of our communities. It is so helpful and so beneficial to their daily lives as they talk with us back home. That's what we heard from our colleagues as well. But our work is not done. As the chairman mentioned, the American Jobs Plan, the American Families Plan, the presentation that we heard from the White House today, and a commitment to those goals, a commitment to those policies is so important in how we advance the economic agenda that moves this country forward. So with that, the chairman will take questions. We did not, I want to just answer the first question here. We did not color coordinate today intentionally. So with that, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Jeffries.
Although outfits did kind of work out, so.
Do you what is your sense from what you hear about the bipartisan negotiations at this point? Give us your mind share on what you think of them so far, what you think of the substance.
Well, Speaker Pelosi made clear, I think on Sunday, that we're assuming that our Republican colleagues are operating in good faith in terms of trying to do what is necessary to invest in our infrastructure, which is crumbling. Our bridges, our roads, our tunnels, our airports, our mass transportation system, our water and sewage system, affordable housing, our public school buildings, all of which need investment and modernization. That's important. But of course, we've also been very clear as Democrats that we need to invest in the caring economy. We need to invest in human capital and infrastructure. We need to invest in home care, and of course in health care and in elder care, and for those Americans who have traditionally been least left behind. And so we'll see how it proceeds. We'll operate under the assumption that our colleagues are operating in good faith, and we'll take it from there.
Do you think that there should be a one major package, $4 trillion, or this should be broken up?
I think we should allow the process to proceed, as the speaker has indicated, and that's what we're going to do.
What do you think is the best way to get the votes to pass it?
What would you say to those who are concerned that this is an expansion of the federal government and they're wary about that? What would you say to those people?
Well, President Biden was very clear in advance of the November election when he was talking to the American people. He said that we are going to build back better. There is nothing ambiguous about that statement. We're going to build back better. We're not going to return to normal, because prior to the pandemic, half the American people said they couldn't afford a sudden, unexpected $400 expense. That is in the wealthiest country in the history of the world, and that is unacceptable. And President Biden was very clear. Build back better means we're not going to return to normal. We're going to lift up the middle class, all those who aspire to be part of the middle class, the poor, the sick, the afflicted, the least, the lost, and the left behind. We're going to build back better for the people. He promised that was going to happen, and now we are in the process of making sure that it takes place. Pete?
Mr. Chair, where are you on a 1/6 commission? Can you support moving forward with a select committee at this point?
I expect that in the next day or so, we'll have a lot of conversation about the best way to proceed. I look forward to hearing from our speaker on that, as well as the relevant committee chairs, including Chairman Benny Thompson of the Homeland Security Committee. It's unfortunate that our Republican colleagues decided that in the aftermath of a violent attack on the Capitol, unprecedented in American history, where lives were lost, officers were assaulted, more than 140 seriously injured defending the citadel of our democracy, where you had a violent mob who was in this Capitol to hang Mike Pence, assassinate the Speaker, and hunt down members of Congress, that they can't agree upon a bipartisan commission that they negotiated, led by John Katko, the lead Republican on the House Homeland Security Committee. So it's an unfortunate development, and it tells you about the state of the modern Republican Party. We're a coalition of people trying to get things done on behalf of the American people and defend our democracy, and far too many of them are part of a cult where they're still bending the knee to Donald Trump.
Last question, can you talk a little bit about the 7 to 10 day timeline for a bipartisan deal? I mean, does that seem satisfactory and a good amount of time to wait?
Let me let Pete respond first, and then I'll jump in.
I think that we're going to give this process some time, but as we heard from Senior Counselor Ricchetti, we're going to have this 2-track process. And so we will operate under the assumption that Republicans will work with us in good faith, but we will carry on the business of making sure that we pass good policy. And that could be through other means. But we're going to be focused on these important and popular proposals, as the chairman mentioned, and as the president has talked about before, building bipartisanship under this dome is hard, but the policies that we are advocating are incredibly popular in a bipartisan framework. The American Families Plan, the American Jobs Plan, all of these components. And so we won't give this process longer than we need to. We want to make sure that we deliver for the American public. And the chairman.
What do you think is an appropriate amount of time?
Well, I think we have to let the process play itself out. There's a new group of senators, 10 as I understand it, 5 Democrats, 5 Republicans, who are communicating with each other. And then more broadly, will be in communication with the White House, with us, and with their colleagues in the United States Senate. The White House made clear to us in our conversations today that we're prepared to take a 2-track approach. Of course, we're going to lean into the bipartisan discussions that are underway with legitimacy and authenticity. We'd like to find common ground with the other side. These are important things to invest in for the American people, and the American people want to see us get that done. But if the obstructionists prevail, the self-described Grim Reaper prevails, then we are going to have to proceed to get it done through the vehicle that is available to us through reconciliation. But that is a conversation for another day. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Can I have a police reform question real quick? If there is a deal reached between Senator Scott, Cory Booker, and Karen Bass, do you think that enough Democrats will support it? Because there will be concessions in this bill.
Yeah, Karen Bass has done a tremendous job in leading the effort on the House side, working closely with Senator Booker and Senator Scott. And hopefully police reform can be an example of the type of bipartisan common ground that can be found on an important issue for the American people. People all across the country took to the streets in a multi-generational, multiracial, multi-ethnic, multicultural way in the aftermath of the assassination of George Floyd, demanding police reform. And if we can arrive at an agreement that Democrats and Republicans believe is the right way to move forward based on the negotiations, then I think that it will receive significant support from the House Democratic Caucus, and it will be the most transformational police reform bill ever passed in the history of the United States Congress. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.